Good morning, everybody. The roads here suck here, coming at you from 2021. Happy New Year. It is January 1st at the time of recording this, and we are at, let me get closer here, 215,000 miles, which means it's time for an oil change and an air filter change and maybe also a tire rotation. The moon at its perigee, I could be wrong here, but I think the moon at its perigee is 221,500 miles away from the Earth. So we're getting there. Yeah. Anyways, here's what I got. Mobil 1 M1204A oil filter. Protects up to 20,000 miles, apparently. A quart of Mobil 1 high mileage. 5W30 motor oil. I'll explain that in a second, though I'm sure you guys already know what's up. 5 quarts of Mobil 1 5W30. Now, this is just one oil change for the winter. That's why I'm using 5W30. And so long as it's name brand, the correct weight, and certified, I'm not too concerned about mixing regular synthetic and high mileage synthetic or Mobil 1 and Valvoline or whatever. But the reason it is like this today is because I was also buying oil as a Christmas present for somebody else who had a Ford F-150, which takes about 7.7 quarts, or let's just say 8 quarts of oil. So Walmart has the best price for fluids such as oil. A 5-quart jug is about $24, I want to say, whereas at an auto parts store it could be like $30 or $40, so there's a bit of a big difference there. However, auto parts stores like to give you a 5-quart jug and a oil filter for like $34, which is a pretty good deal. And the individual quarts at Walmart are like $7, and at auto parts stores are like $14 per individual quart bottle. What people don't know, however, is that you can, more often than not, the store will let you take 5 individual quarts and count that as a 5-quart plus oil filter special. So I got 3 quarts of one weight, 2 quarts of another weight, and then an oil filter. And then Advanced Auto Parts also recently redid their rewards program so that you can use your accumulated $5 off coupons or whatever on any purchase that you want. So I got 5 quarts, individual quarts of motor oil, and a filter for I want to say $28 or $29 or something like that. And where ordinarily at that store that would have been something like $50, so not bad. And then I went and got a 5-quart jug for $24 or something like that. So that's why they're just a little bit different. But again, it's just one oil change for the winter, or for the next 5,000 miles anyway. But I'm anticipating winter temperatures. Why is there such a mess here? That's unusual. Let me see if I could actually find the specifics for you. Here it is. Engine oil viscosity chart for the 3.5 liter engine. 10W30 is preferred from, I don't know if that's going to be in focus for you guys, but from 0 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 18 degrees Fahrenheit. Use 10W30. You may use 5W30 if the temperature drops below 0 onwards. So the temperature range anticipated before next oil change. Right now it's January. We've already had a couple of below 0 days, but January and February are some pretty cold days. Months, I should say. January and February are pretty cold months. So I'm going to be doing 5W30 for this oil change, and then once I drive 5,000 miles, I'm going to switch back to 10W30. So the 5W30 oil is just for the winter. In any case, as you've all noticed, I've started the car. I'm going to let it warm up for a little bit, not to get it too hot, but yeah, I'm going to, idle for a few minutes, then I'm going to take it around the block, then I'm going to come back, I'm going to let it rest for a couple of minutes. I don't want the oil to be scalding hot, but I want it to be warm so that it's more fluid, so that it comes out easier and is easier to change. So I'll warm it up, I'll take it around the block, I'll put it on some ramps, and we'll get to work shortly. Alright, we've let it run to warm it up. Now we give it a little bit of time to cool down. Again, just want it to be lukewarm, and we'll get started. Could I perhaps do this one-handed? Yes. I suppose while we wait, we could actually start with the air filter. These things are marketed as reusable, washable, but I wouldn't want to reuse it. We just buy a new one. I don't know how much the price of a regular filter is, but this isn't much more, and it gets changed just about as frequently, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, we'll go ahead and start with this, I suppose. So, ordinarily this would be like a rubber hose into a black box that has a square-shaped filter inside. I won't get into the particulars of this, but this is a homemade solution. It forms a tight seal with the hood and keeps this area cool. But as you can see, when there's a larger air intake, there's also a larger intake of crud. So we're just gonna start by taking this off. Here's the old filter. Yeah, and like I said, I wouldn't reuse it because it's starting to rust over and crack. So again, marketed as reusable, but at least if you look inside, it's perfectly clean. Yep. Perfect. Of course, I should give you guys a side-by-side comparison. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that too well, but there it is. And it does in fact come with a new clamp. So we will simply slide this on. It's pretty snug fit, but it does fit. Grab our flathead screwdriver and close the clamp on it really nice and tight. I'd call that pretty tight. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. Nice and clean. So there you have it. Shiny new filter, clamped down tight. Does not move anywhere. While we're here, let's check this rubber grommet. It does fit a little bit loosely, but I don't really care about that. But it looks like a whole continuous seal. That's good. Clamps are good. And again, here's the old one for comparison. Again, this is supposedly reusable, but I wouldn't reuse it. Again, the inside of this is decently clean. So that's the air filter. I just had to do that really quick because that part was driving me mad for the longest time, but there you go. Okay, I believe it just cooled down enough to cheat some oil. So let's get started. I feel like every time I come here it gets a little bit more and more claustrophobic. Or there's less space or something, I don't know. So once that stream of oil stops, we're going to take off the oil filter, and then we're going to let it all dribble out. I'm a firm believer in that a 5-minute oil change is no good. I like to let a decent amount of the old stuff flow out. So we'll see how that goes. Yep, and like I said, we're just gonna let it all dribble out nice and easy now. Let's get back to work here. It's been about half an hour and the dripping has stopped. So we're gonna clean the area of it up a little bit, and then we're gonna put everything back together. So first I'm gonna clean this off so that it's a nice, clean, even surface. And then before more stuff leaks out of it, I'm gonna quickly flip this over. There it goes. Again, there's like a grommet or a gasket on there or something. So I put that, make sure that was on the drain plug before I put it back together as well. And again, just sort of clean up the area of the whole thing. And we want to make this snug, not overly tight. Do not go crazy with tightening this thing. All you want to do is make it a snug-ish fit. If I could get this, give advice to behave. Okay, I'd say that might even be slightly too tight. That'll do. Next, we need to clean off the area around the oil filter, and we need to install the new oil filter. And while we're cleaning this, we should also make sure that the gasket from the old oil filter didn't stay on there, which it didn't in this case. Hopefully you'll be able to see that that is a nice, clean mating surface for the new filter. Again, just a decently snug fit, nothing too crazy. If you want, you can clean the area up some more. I'd call that probably even a little bit too snug, but that's fine. This is on slightly snug too. So we can take the drain pan out of the way, and we can add the new oil now. This engine takes 6 quarts of oil, so 1 big jug and 1 little jug. So this is something interesting. They're saying that it protects for 10,000 miles guaranteed, right? And then controls oil breakdown to protect for 10,000 miles, protects for 10,000 miles or 1 year, whichever comes first. This is kind of interesting because for oil, they always say up to 10,000 miles, which is an advertising buzzword. That means it can, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will. But this is guaranteed to actually hold for 10,000 miles. I'll be changing it in 5,000 anyway, because that's what my owner's manual for the car says to do. Well, not even. My owner's manual says to use regular oil and change it every 3,000 miles, but I use the synthetic stuff and let it go for 5,000. I don't think it's wasteful, but I mean, whatever I'm doing, the car has already driven at least 215,000 miles, so I can't be wrong, but there's that. Yep, and now we clean up, and that was the oil change. I'm going to give it like, I don't know, 10 minutes for the oil to sort of settle down. I'm going to take it for a small test drive to make sure nothing's dripping. And then we'll get started on the tire rotation. It's been a while since I did that, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, let's fire it up, let's make sure nothing leaks, and while I'm here, let's actually inspect all the lights. So the headlights, the brake lights, the fog lights, the turn signals. Let's give it all a shot. Best if I turn this off because people complain. Take a peek. This is good. This is gonna be the fun part. Let's see if I can find something. Rock. Ah. Damn it. Please.
I'm going to get in the car?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, thank you. I knew I should have married you. You're better than a pile of rocks.
Hey.
So it's actually the second day. As soon as I changed the air filter and the engine oil, it started raining. So now I'm going to pull the car out and we're going to do the tire rotation.